Oh, my name is Rhea. I'm an HR advisor for Mytona Limited. So so that's basically my connection to the gaming industry. I sort of help out with the general organizational structure, hiring, looking after staff, and making a great work experience for everyone within our company.
Hi, I'm Callum. I'm a game designer here at Public.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because this is actually my first year working within gaming. Our studio is actually located up in Auckland, and I sort of feel like coming here, it's a little bit far from all of the studios that tend to be located in Wellington. So it's interesting to see the community that New Zealand has built within this convention, and really interesting to see how, even though we're a small sort of niche company or industry, we're sort of finding ways to connect with each other, understand each other a little bit more, finding common ground.
I definitely feel like we're encountering a lot of similar issues. We have a lot in common with other designers, developers that we've talked to. So it's really, it really does feel like there's a potential for a community. And there's so many examples of brilliant top-tier games that absolutely have really deep themes in them that express these ideas as well as any other piece of literature. Games are just another medium for storytelling. If a story is capable of having deep themes and messages, then a game is capable of having those as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, I really don't see why not. Like with our generation, I see a lot of change and involvement within social issues. So we just need to find ways to mesh both of tech, spaces within tech, and how our values are growing, and mesh them together the best we can. It's more like gender diversity within the gaming industry. Even within working within HR, I would love to see more women get empowered to sort of apply for these roles, try it out, try something new, try something different. If we get a difference in perspectives, maybe our games will become better with different people from different backgrounds.
Games are an excellent opportunity to meet so many people and have so many experiences, so many encounters that you would never otherwise have. Like, you meet so many people playing multiplayer games that you just would not meet in real life. It's, in a way, the games become a bridging tool, and in that way, they increase your social horizons. They take you out of your current world and put you into contact again with people that you otherwise never would have anything to do with. So it can surprise you, it challenges you.
Recently I tried playing a couple of VR games with a bunch of friends, and it's actually pretty hilarious seeing people put on the goggles and trying to cut stuff or shoot at stuff. So it was just like fun, being goofy together, hanging out, having a couple of drinks, and just letting loose.
I think the most fun ones for me have been those intensely personal experiences that single-player games can bring, where it's a more interactive form of a fantasy. It's you're engaging with the story or with other characters or anything in a way that you can't with a book or a film. So it's just that added immersion and accessibility is really horizon broadening.
We see things in the modern times. So for example, our company, Mytona, has a project called Hublets, and this is sort of like a metaverse project that we're building. And right now, metaverse and the whole sort of conversation around metaverse is really big. So it's interesting to see, how we've sort of developed from, playing like little video games to moving on to like bigger concepts. It's sort of our culture with this sort of generation moving into sort of deeper forms of technology and in different forms of engagement.
Culture is how we do things, and for me, the way I see it, games we're playing at doing things that we normally wouldn't do. So I'd say games broaden your cultural horizons because they let you experiment and try out and play at different ways of approaching your life and approaching problems that one otherwise never would do, in real life. Studios have a responsibility to challenge people, to push their boundaries, to stimulate people, to make people ask questions about themselves and about the world. That's fundamentally what all literature seeks to do. And I think games, just as well as any other piece of literature, have a responsibility to do that.
I had an interesting conversation yesterday at one of the social events from the NZGDC, where we were sort of looking at sort of the ethics of technology in general, because we're creating really incredible conceptualized forms of games or tech in general, but we're sort of moving away from some of the human interaction and humanness of sort of sitting down and having important conversations. We're sort of opting into having like very mechanized and virtual ways of meeting up or having that connection. So it's like, even though we're progressing, it's great, but sometimes you sort of think like, oh, am I missing out on some of the connections I could be forming in real life? So that's something that is quite interesting to think about.
I think it's also a nuance, and grey morals are a really good tool in terms of pulling reality into games, like in terms of making people feel connected to it, because reality itself is very grey and nuanced. Yeah, so I think it's part of world building.
Yeah, like I'm not a gamer myself, but my partner and I have been sort of playing a couple of games here and there, and he's been teaching me some of the stuff. So it's like when I get on his Xbox and I'm trying to learn some of the functions or just understand the game, sometimes I feel frustrated, but it like motivates me to get to the end a little bit more.
I'm absolutely the same. My favourite part is definitely pushing my own boundaries and comfort zones within those environments, and really seeking to, it's just a great environment to push yourself for a challenge.
When you're actually like trying to figure out a certain mechanism, you're just like, gosh, like, and at the time it can get like really frustrating, but once you achieve it, it's like, oh yeah.
I don't know who said it. Some philosopher said, hell is other people. Sometimes, you give people the opportunity to be good and really, to participate, to have great experiences, and they will often choose to be toxic as well. People in games are just people, they're going to behave the way that people do. So, sadly, that means that things like human nature are always going to be present, whether it's in real life or within a game environment, and that's the tragedies of that are come into play as well.
I'd like to see gaming grow more within New Zealand society. Something that's a little bit concerning to me, as someone that's sort of involved in gaming at an operational level, is the fact that we could be potentially losing our gaming industry to Australia with their sort of tax relief that they've been giving to some studios. And I think it would be amazing if the New Zealand government did something similar towards that, where we get the government to see the benefits and the money that can be brought to our country.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been a problem with New Zealand economics that we train up people to have a huge amount of skills, and then we can't actually afford to keep them around. The opportunity cost of moving to other places is so much stronger, where there's more of a culture of having those large organisations present. So yeah, it can be quite frustrating to be in the games industry in New Zealand. That definitely can change, but there's political realities and economic realities around that. Often it is the sensible choice to move overseas when the opportunity cost is that high. So I guess it really comes down to whether New Zealanders value having the gaming industry as part of their identity, and currently it seems that that's not the case. I mean, to be in gaming is sometimes a pejorative, is it really seen as a valued part of New Zealand culture? I wonder about that.